And it's my job as your pastor to prepare you that you would be wise, that you wouldn't jump in your flesh, you wouldn't get emotional, you wouldn't get upset no matter which way things go, but that you'd keep yourself in the love of God. That it's now 2 days before we have the last opportunity to cast our vote for the administration that's going to govern our country for the next 4 years. And looking back at the times when God brought his judgment on his own people. In fact, that judgment, the judgment of God on his people, was specifically surrounded upon one main thing. That one main thing was the ill treatment of children. That to God is the apple of his eye. How we treat our children, because after all, they don't really belong to us. They belong to him. Children are the heritage of the Lord. They are the future of God. And how we treat our children is dear to the heart of our Father. In fact, Jesus, you remember, he said, anyone that leads a child astray from knowing the Father, it would be better for that person to have a millstone tied around their neck and drowned into the deepest sea than to one day stand before God. The problems that are happening on our border, again, these are just 5 things that are on your ballot on, Tuesday that you're going to be voting for or against. As a Christian, I'm appealing to your conscience before God. Not the political back and forth, but the biblical back and forth. I learned this last week that when the Biden-Harris administration took over in 2020, they immediately removed the requirement of DNA testing at the border. That used to assure us that the children that are being brought into our country by adults were indeed the children of the adult. As a result of removing the testing, adults have been bringing into our country millions of children with no proof that those that brought them in our country are their parents. In fact, we know for sure, and you can check me out on this, that there are over 320,000 children that have been brought across the border that are lost and are missing. No accountability for. In fact, over the last 4 years, we've come to learn that thousands of adults have brought children into our country who were not their parents, to use them as sex slaves in our country. I mean, this is pure evil. The children, and it needs to stop. Now, think about this. All of us are appalled over the slavery of Africans in America. The whole, slavery was wrong. And yet, there are and have been more children sold into sexual slavery over the last 4 years than Africans sold in the United States over the last 200 years. Let that sink in for a minute. How come we can be so upset about slavery when it concerns Africans, but when it concerns children, we're all looking the other way? Why aren't we freaking out about that? Again, for the sake of the children, we need to vote against an administration that allows these things to happen.